Femi.
Well, Femi's clearly done his homework because nothing...
Welcome, wrestling warriors. You're tuned into Wrestle Watch Central, your daily dose of WWE. Hit that bell, and let's get started. After a year defined by dominance and control, the most imposing force in WWE NXT has returned with a declaration that reaches far beyond one brand, setting the stage for a confrontation where ambition, belief, and destiny collide in a way that feels impossible to ignore. What began as a sit-down interview quickly transformed into a moment of clarity for the future of NXT, as two competitors from different paths stood face to face and made it clear that only one voice will define what comes next. A return that redefined the landscape. Oba Femi's presence immediately shifts the atmosphere whenever he speaks, and this moment was no exception. His return was framed not as a comeback, but as a continuation of authority that never truly left. By reflecting on his dominant stretch over the past year, he positioned himself not just as a champion, but as a constant force shaping the direction of NXT itself. His confidence was not exaggerated or performative. It was measured and grounded in accomplishment. Every word reinforced the idea that NXT has revolved around him, and that his vision now extends beyond the boundaries of the brand. This wasn't about reclaiming relevance, it was about expanding influence, making it clear that his goals are no longer limited to one division or one stage. The claim that shook WWE. When Oba Femi declared that he wants the world, he wasn't speaking in metaphors. His words carried the weight of someone who believes the next step is inevitable. By referencing his appearance at a major event and his encounter with one of WWE's biggest stars, he framed that moment as a turning point rather than an opportunity. According to him, the shift was already felt, not just by the audience but by his opponent as well. This wasn't a challenge issued into the void. It was a statement that the future has already begun. His belief that the locker room and the fans sensed it gave the declaration more credibility, making it feel less like ambition and more like destiny unfolding in real time. Leon Slater steps forward. Leon Slater's involvement added a completely different energy to the conversation. Where Oba represented dominance through achievement, Leon embodied purpose through passion. His support of Oba's claims did not come from intimidation, but from understanding what it takes to reach that level. When he spoke, it was clear he wasn't trying to match Oba's presence, but rather define his own. Leon positioned himself as someone shaped by dedication rather than expectation. By stepping into this moment, he didn't diminish Oba's authority. Instead, he elevated the stakes by making it clear that belief alone is no longer enough. His presence signaled that respect does not equal submission. A life built around wrestling. Leon Slater's story resonated because it was deeply personal. He didn't speak about wrestling as a career choice, but as a necessity. Beginning his training at an incredibly young age, he described the sport as something that filled a missing space in his life. Wrestling wasn't something he found later, it shaped him from the beginning. His description of being a constant student, absorbing knowledge and experience wherever possible, painted the picture of someone forged through commitment rather than opportunity. This wasn't a tale designed to gain sympathy, but one meant to establish authenticity. It explained why he stands where he does now, and why he believes that his journey has prepared him for moments like this. Respect without illusion. Oba Femi's response to Leon was measured and deliberate. He acknowledged Leon's journey without diminishing it, making it clear that respect exists, but only up to a point. His message was simple, yet powerful. Personal stories do not alter reality inside the ring. While Leon's dedication was admirable, Oba emphasized that none of it would matter once they stood across from each other. This exchange wasn't dismissive. It was honest. Oba wasn't attacking Leon's character, but rather grounding the conversation in competition. It reinforced the idea that while wrestling is fueled by passion, it is ultimately decided by performance, strength, and execution when the moment arrives. The meaning behind the challenge. As the conversation progressed, the tone shifted from reflection to inevitability. Both men understood that words could only carry them so far. The agreement that followed wasn't dramatic or explosive. It was calm and confident. There was mutual recognition that the only way to settle their claims was through competition. By aligning the confrontation with a major event, the challenge felt earned rather than forced. It wasn't about proving who speaks louder, but about discovering whose presence commands the moment when everything is on the line. This understanding elevated the matchup from a simple title defense to a test of belief, preparation, and identity. Styles that define the outcome. What makes this confrontation compelling is how differently both competitors approach the craft. Oba Femi thrives on control, power, and inevitability, breaking opponents down physically and mentally until resistance fades. Leon Slater, on the other hand, represents adaptability, hunger, and continuous growth. His background suggests resilience, someone accustomed to learning under pressure. These contrasting styles create a dynamic where neither advantage feels absolute. Power meets persistence, dominance meets determination. The outcome won't simply reflect strength or speed, but whose philosophy holds up when pressure peaks. That balance is what turns this into more than a match and transforms it into a measuring stick for NXT's future. What a win would mean for Oba Femi. If Oba Femi continues his reign, the victory would further solidify his position as the defining figure of the brand. It would validate his belief that his influence has outgrown NXT and reinforce his claim that the world stage is within reach. A win here wouldn't just be another successful defense. It would be proof that emerging challengers, no matter how motivated, still have ground to cover. It would also strengthen his negotiating power within storylines, positioning him as someone whose next chapter naturally leads upward. For Oba, this moment is about confirming that dominance sustained over time becomes legacy in the making. What an upset would mean for Leon Slater. If Leon Slater were to shock the world, the implications would be immediate and profound. A victory over someone as established as Oba Femi would redefine his position overnight. It would transform his personal story from background context into proof of concept. The years of training, sacrifice, and absorption would suddenly carry tangible weight. Such a result wouldn't diminish Oba's stature, but it would signal that NXT's future is not fixed. Leon would emerge not just as a challenger who succeeded, but as a new standard-bearer for belief-driven success. It would be the moment where preparation meets opportunity at exactly the right time. The question that defines New Year's Evil. As the event approaches, the central question remains simple yet powerful. Will dominance continue uninterrupted, or will belief and preparation rewrite expectations? Both men have spoken their truths, and neither feels uncertain. That confidence is what makes the confrontation meaningful. There is no hesitation, no retreat, only alignment toward a single moment. The audience now becomes part of the equation, weighing legacy against momentum, certainty against possibility. Whatever the outcome, this encounter represents a turning point, not just for the competitors involved, but for the direction of NXT itself. When the bell rings, answers will replace speculation, and the future will become unmistakably clear.